I was going to be a music education major, wanted to be a band director at a high school because music was my life. In August, I started at Northwestern State University in Louisiana. Did that for 1 full year, and throughout that year kind of discovered that maybe this was not my calling. It was kind of difficult at first because it's like I had told all my family, all of my friends, my entire life, this is what I'm going to do. So it kind of, I felt like I was like a failure or being a quitter, that I've decided my calling is not my calling. And I just discovered after taking different classes, teaching music is not what I wanted to do. It was doing music is what I actually enjoyed. So I kind of realized that it was really more of a hobby. So after that first year was up, I decided to change my major to journalism. Because again, another thing that I loved in life was reading. I loved literature, reading classics, that type of thing. So I thought, oh, I'll do journalism. And after that first year, Troy, who's now my husband, was in the military and had to get stationed in El Paso, Texas. So we got married, moved to El Paso, but I continued to go to school. As soon as we got there, I enrolled at University of Texas at El Paso, or UTEP, and with a journalism major. And then Troy got deployed to Saudi Arabia for 6 months. So then I'm in the big city in Texas, no family, no friends. That was too much for me to handle at the age of 19, 20. So packed up, drove clear across the state of Texas, went back home, moved back in with my mom, and enrolled in a local community college there. 7 or 8 months later, Troy ended up getting honorably discharged from the military. Just decided that wasn't the lifestyle for us, for him to always be deployed and be gone. So we decided that we would live back in my local hometown, small town in Louisiana, and I would finish school there. Took a few of the prerequisites for that, and then just started really, I don't know if it's because I was getting a little bit older. At this point, I was probably 21, 22 years old. Just thinking, like, realistically, am I ever going to work like on the Today Show? That's what I'm thinking. Because when I'm thinking how I want to do journalism, it wasn't, I want to work at the local KPLC channel, news channel that we had back home. You know, I'm thinking, I want to be on the Today Show, you know, be the next Tom Brokaw. And I'm just thinking, like, realistically, that's probably not ever going to happen, because that's a huge competitive market. So then I started thinking, again, what I should do. And I had a friend who was going to nursing school, and we had a mutual friend that had been a nurse for probably 3 or 4 years. And she really talked it up, that it was a great career to choose, especially as a woman. If you wanted to have a family, you know, a lot of the jobs, it's three days a week, you know, 3 12-hour shifts, you know, rotating holidays. It's very flexible. And that's, I mean, the one nice thing about nursing, you can teach, you could get into forensics, you could get into law, bedside nursing, flight nursing. I mean, there's just so many different avenues to take. So I decided to switch my major once again to nursing. I applied to get into clinicals for nursing. Again, it was pretty competitive. You had to have a really good GPA, but there was always a wait list. So I applied at the local community college I was attending and got waitlisted. It was one of those things where they pick 30 a semester and there might be 300 apply. So then the same friend who had started nursing school a semester or two before me mentioned applying at Louisiana State University in Alexandria. So I also applied there and got accepted, but it was a 2-hour drive one way. And I look back on that now, I don't know how I did it, but I had a small child, a year old, and Monday through Thursday I drove 2 hours one way for 2 years until I finished school. Yeah, I look back on that now and I'm like, gosh, how did I do that? But I guess, you know, it goes back to, if you want something bad enough, you make sacrifices and just do what you have to do. My husband, in the meantime, had been working, you know, just local jobs. We kind of were taking turns. I would go to college first, get a career, start making money, then he would go to college. It's kind of how we had it set up. And so after I graduated from college, he really wanted to move back up here to Washington County because this is where he's from. So my first job was here at Marietta Memorial as a staff nurse in the intensive care unit. They don't encourage new graduates from nursing programs to start in the intensive care unit for obvious reasons. It's a high stress level. You're brand new to nursing. To, be in an intensive care unit, that was extremely challenging. Of course, I started on night shift. That is something for students to remember. You have to put your time in. You'd be amazed how many new graduates we have from nursing programs that come in and want to, I'm only going to work day shift. I don't work weekends and I don't work holidays. That's not how it works. Odds are you're going to work night shift for probably at least the first 6 months, first year. You're going to be working Christmases. You're going to be working on your birthday. You're going to be working holidays. But probably after 3 or 4 years, I decided it was time to further my career. I loved being a nurse, on the floor. Loved taking care of patients. I loved the challenge of critical care, the adrenaline rush with it, so to speak. So just thinking ahead in the future, I decided to go back to school to get my bachelor's in nursing. And then immediately, the very next month, started my master's program. Because at this point, I'd been working 7 or 8 years. I wanted to go higher up with my career, reach my full potential, honestly, to make more money. That's still something important. And, a lot of people say, I want to do what I love to do. I want to make people happy. I want to change the world. Those are all wonderful things. I think all high school kids probably have that vision. But when you do get in the real world and you have bills and you have other people you have to support, and it's not all about yourself, it's not just all about the idea of what you want your life to be. It's not all about yourself. You have to think in the long term, when you're 70 years old, do I still want to be doing job A, or do I want to advance my career and do job B? So I went to Liberty University. It's in Lynchburg, Virginia. It was an online program. So I still had computer work, online classes, tests, tons and tons of papers to write. But then I had 900 clinical hours to complete. So again, it's not like you just go to school because you're already a registered nurse and then just get an advanced degree. You still have clinical hours to do, which was much more time consuming, much more difficult than it was with my associate's degree, my original degree. And so that was preparing me to practice more autonomously, I guess. I am a clinical nurse specialist. I was the first one here at Memorial Health System, and I'm still the only one in the system. So again, that was another, I can't do things just the simple way. So that was a learning curve for myself as well as the organization, because they didn't really know what a clinical nurse specialist was. I knew what it was, but I didn't know how to incorporate it into our hospital, and I didn't know any other clinical nurse specialist in this area. So I actually went to Cleveland Clinic for one of my rotations and spent some time with some other clinical nurse specialists there. I'm proud to work at Memorial Health System, and that I truly am proud to do that. I think this is a great place to work. I love living in a small community, but I think that we're also very fortunate that we're in a community-sized hospital. However, we offer so many different specialist services that normally you would have to travel, to Columbus or Cleveland to receive. I think, especially for high school kids that have no idea what they want to do, are scared to death to make a decision thinking it's the wrong decision, the absolute worst thing that I think anyone would regret is to just do nothing because they're indecisive. Just go with something and you'll kind of find your niche. You'll meet people, you'll learn from their experiences, what they recommend or what they did, get to talking to other people, job shadow. Everything works out in the end. Just don't not do anything.